Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. My name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today, our guest is Ayush from Byldd.com. Hello.
Hey, Christian. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you. Please tell
Nice to
us
meet you.
what your company does.
Sure. So we help founders go from idea to their first paying customers. So typically, we work with a lot of kind of domain experts. These are industry people who've been in industry in their specific niches for several years, spotted an opportunity, and they come to us to kind of turn their idea into a product that can actually generate that they can sell to customers. And we help them go through that process, so refining what that product needs to do for like version one, helping them build it out, get it in front of customers, get that initial revenue, and then build that product feedback loop. So start interviewing those customers, learning from them, and then taking that insight and driving product development with it. So we pair with them and become their like long-term development partner.
So the biggest problem that you solve is that you help founders develop their MVP, their first version of the product.
Yeah, exactly. And we do it typically we do it in about $10,000 to $15,000 and in about 1.5 months. And the reason we're able to do that is that we've automated a big chunk of software development, right? So we have internal proprietary tool which takes in certain parameters as input and turns that and writes code for us. So the piece of code, like the piece of the software base that we start off with for these founders actually has a lot of the work done. So we're able to like really quickly put in the extra things, the things that make that product unique
I
on
understand.
top of it, and then just like, ship it out.
Yeah. So in a way, you're something like product as a service or department as a service.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. So that was actually our original kind of model before we pivoted into this. It was like a CTO as a service kind of business, and like people just resonated more with like building a prototype or building an MVP, and we kind of changed our language and our model into this like field.
Those are my next two questions. How long does it take, and what was the pricing? But you already told us. So yeah, because you automated things, they are going quickly, and the pricing.
Yeah, the pricing is about $10,000 to $15,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like the idea behind this, the inspiration behind this was like even in my career, I was working I've worked in a bunch of early stage companies, and what I've seen like repeatedly is like founders who don't have that technical skill set paying exorbitant amounts to developers to build a lot of stuff that's like
Basic.
undifferentiated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Like
maybe
nobody.
just to test their ideas.
Exactly. So like they're paying like six figures, $100,000 $150,000, and things are being built from scratch. Like nobody really cares about your login flow. You don't need to rebuild that every time, your registration process, that kind of stuff. So we modularized it, we automated it, and we took all of that excess like fat away from that pricing thing. So ultimately, like the vision of the company is like to democratize entrepreneurship, right? To make it as accessible as possible to people who are domain experts, who don't have the technical expertise but have the experience and the insight, industry insight, to actually come up with really, really interesting solutions to problems.
Can you share with us some successful stories?
Yeah, we've had there's a company called Marco, which is a marketplace for buying and selling businesses. So they we built their MVP. They're just launching into the market now. We have a company called Rake, which is a sales automation platform, sales gamification platform rather. So what it does is that it's a really interesting product in a remote environment. it's very difficult to get sales teams to get into that competitive mindset, right? And what this company does is that it's brought this aspect of gamification to sales, to remote sales teams, where it integrates with the CRM, and you can see your score alongside your colleague's score and see who's making progress, who's beating targets. You can bet against each other. You can put wagers on. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we have a WizKid, it's an edtech platform, based in the States. It's, generating like a lot of revenue now. After they've launched with us, they provide like STEM classes to kids, basically like under 16 kids. And yeah, it was a bunch of different products, social media companies, fintech applications. Yeah.
And do customers leave after 6 months to 1 year?
No. So, we've had zero churn at this point. So, touch wood, fingers crossed. And everybody that's built a product with us that's been able to kind of get revenue and get that initial traction has continued to stay with us and we've become like their long-term development partners, right?
Nice.
The companies that typically don't work with us are like companies that have built an MVP and then they've tried to put it out in the market. But for whatever reason,
it didn't work.
They either weren't able to get some traction, or it wasn't a good fit for the market, or they were outcompeted for some reason or the other. So we have relationships with those founders, and they've like pivoted and built like a new company. But that's like a different. It's a different product entirely.
Yeah. When did you start the company?
I started it in 2018. But at that time, I was working full-time as an engineer somewhere else. I was doing this, like I had just started it. I went full-time on it in 2020, 1 month before COVID became a thing. So I remember I quit my job. I was in New York at that time, and I quit my job. And the plan was like, I had a couple of months left on my visa. So my plan was to stay in New York and just like network and find opportunities. And then I quit. And then like a month later, COVID happened. And it was just like, yeah, I can't like stay in New York. I don't know if you remember the situation there, like in 2021.
Okay. Yeah. And how did you develop the idea?
Yeah. So like I said, like I've worked in a bunch of early stage companies, and that the thing that struck out to me is that founders were spending a lot of money on things that didn't differentiate their product, like building features and paying for development of things that didn't really matter to their end customers. And I just thought it was like very, like capital intensive to start a business, to at least validate an idea.
I understand.
And that was the kind of disconnect I saw. And I saw that like there was sort of found a way to like automate a bunch of that process, so that you pay nothing for all of the generic stuff, and you're only paying for the development hours for building like whatever it is that's unique about your product, and just pushing it out, getting feedback, and then iterating on that feedback to continue growing your company.
It makes total sense to me, being non-technical. So yeah, I think it's great help to entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And what's your vision? What are the next steps that you want to do in your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are continuing to refine that automation technology that we have, and we're continuing to build on it. Eventually, I'd like to bring the cost down even further. Ideally, like instead of people paying 100,000, they would be able to pay 2 to 3 grand, and like have a really robust MVP available that they can sell to customers, right? So that's the end goal. We're not quite there yet, but we're on the way. So like, constantly building that our proprietary technology, the automation tools, the modules that we have, so that we can just like click, plug and play, and have like most of the stuff good to go.
Nice, nice, nice. And how big is your team?
We are 35 people right now.
Oh, quite nice, nice. What's your favorite software?
Oh man, I really like Robinhood. I know it's kind of a controversial answer, in this, like, given the current situation, but I really do like Robinhood and their user experience, and how simple it is to, just understand what's happening with the company that you're researching, and like how they've
Mm-hmm.
um, how they performed in the past. I think they've democratized access to investments, right? They've made it really, really easy for everyday people to invest. And some say that's a good thing, some say that's a bad thing. And because like they've gamified it also to an extent with the confetti and all of that stuff. That's one. I really like Shopify as well. I really admire the CEO. I don't know if you've like seen some of his videos, but he's one of the really few CEOs that are really like deep into the technical part of the company, and the CEO is like regularly giving product demos. And that one quality I admire. And then the company itself, like they've done something really, really interesting in the sense that they've created a brand new market, right? Like they've
Yes.
made business accessible to a lot of people who wouldn't have had access to them, like a lot of
Absolutely.
creators and hobbyists, and they've been able to use Shopify to turn their passions into businesses and become entrepreneurs. And I think that's really cool. Like that's very much in line with what I'm trying to do with
Exactly,
my.
exactly. That's what I wanted to say. I see that you want to help entrepreneurs, and you're
Absolutely.
passionate about that. And
Absolutely.
I don't know, some other software that you use at the company, your CRM, project management tool, things like that.
Yeah, so we use a tool called Shortcut. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Jira and some of these other more popular ones. Shortcut's a really great tool. It's been very helpful, like especially for startups and MVPs, because it's super easy. There's no learning curve. It's super easy to pick up. Our team uses it across all of our projects. Slack, usual Gmail. We use Atlassian Bitbucket to do a lot of as our kind of Git system, and also their pipeline infrastructure to do a lot of the testing and to do deployments and all of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, those are the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
That's great. And one last question, maybe a personal one. I'd love to hear your backstory. How you started being a developer, founding a company. So tell us the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, absolutely. So I actually started. The reason I became a developer is because I was non-technical. I wanted to start a business, and I learned the basics of coding when in engineering school,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I could do it. I don't know if you went to those like CS 101 classes where they teach you C and C++, and you learn like for loops and stuff. But
The
that's
basics,
what
yes.
the very basics. Yeah. So the idea was like to start a business. Um, at that time, I think I was like maybe 24 or so originally, and then I wasn't able to do it, and then I tried to find a co-founder who would do it for me. It was incredibly difficult to find. Obviously being a student, I didn't have any money to pay them, so I was looking for somebody to do it for free for equity, and it's nearly impossible. It's not worth any engineer's time to like do that kind of that kind of stuff. So that didn't work out. So I ended up joining coding boot camp, full stack academy, for like a 3-month coding program, and that was absolutely life changing. Like it, they taught us how to code, but more than that, I think they taught us how to figure things out on our own.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that honestly was like a life changing experience. I think that kind of propelled me into what I am today. So I did that, and then I worked at a couple of like early stage companies, very early stage companies, and like built the initial MVPs, tried to get it to market, tried to get feedback from users, tried to like turn a very vague concepts into ideas and get some revenue. Most of those didn't work out too well. At my last gig before Byldd, I was initially the sole engineer and then eventually leading the engineering team. And then we scaled that company from about $300,000 in, like booking value to close to 10 million, like almost 10 million in like 3 years with the same headcount. So that was a lot of fun. That was like the last job I had. Taught me a lot about on the technical side as well as like just culture and having like a team that you really enjoy working with, and like just how to like treat the people around you as an employer, and how to behave, like just be what's the word, like just just how to like really enjoy what you're doing and
Feel
how to
part
create
of
a
the
culture.
of something.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Create a culture where it's a
You
everybody's
enjoy
focused.
coming to work.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Nice.
um yeah, so that was the last gig, and then I started Byldd after that.
And do you have co-founders?
No, I don't.
Oh,
It's a solo company. Yeah.
nice. Okay, so if there's any entrepreneur who wants to start and needs some help on the technical side, you can check byldd.com. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and accepting our invitation.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure. Really enjoyed talking to you, Christian.
Okay, is there anything else that you want to tell us?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you so much for helping the community, and I hope more people find out, because I would use your product personally.
absolutely. Love to have you.
Okay,
All
thank you
right.
so much.
Take care.
Have an
Bye.
amazing day.